Welcome back. You're watching Sky News Breakfast, and it's time now to discuss the papers with political editor at the HuffPost, Kevin Schofield, and the former editor of the Daily Star, Dawn Neeson. Great to see you both again. Lots of news around today. Let's kick off with, of course, the most serious of the news, Kevin, the situation in Gaza. The Guardian today focusing on the ground offensive, which is now focusing on the south of Gaza, and a lot of concern there because that's, of course, where people have been sheltering.
Well, you're right, yeah. So if you remember in the initial wave of the conflict, Israel warned those living in northern Gaza to move to the south because they were going to bomb the north, but now they're going to, as you say, extend it to the south. And where are those people who have fled the north? Where are they supposed to go? And I think the most interesting thing about it is America's attitude. Now, Anthony Blinken, the US Secretary of State, before the ceasefire ended, warned Israel, and he says here he clashed with the Israeli cabinet over its tactics, saying, look, you're going to lose international support. More needs to be done to reduce the number of civilian casualties. And now, you know, the world was holding its breath, really, to establish exactly how they're going to go about this next stage of the military offensive, because I think if we see the same level of civilian casualties as we saw before, then I think international pressure will really grow on Israel to...
What's really interesting with this story is how quickly public sympathy went from the horrors of what happened on October the 7th in Israel to being quite anti not just Israel, but Jewish people around the world. And we know anti-Semitism in this country is up over 1,000% compared to year on year. Islamophobia is also up, obviously, but not as much. And if you've, I mean, social media is not the be-all and end-all, I know, but if you look at the hashtags supporting Israel are hardly any, whereas the pro-Palestine ones are huge. So I think, you know, that Anthony Blinken's done an amazing job by going out there and trying to sort, you know, the situation out on the ground. But Israel are losing sympathy around the globe now, and you know, and it's like you just can't see an end to it, can you? You just don't know where this is going to go now.
Yeah, and it's important to say as well, you know, a lot of Palestinian and Israeli civilians don't feel represented by their politicians, who of course are making all these decisions.
You know what, Sally, when all this started, I put a tweet out online, and it was like, you know, not all Jews support the Israeli state. Not all Palestinians support Hamas. And it's that simple. Why can't people understand that? Why do they just lump everybody together in it? And you don't have to pick a side. It's not a football match. There are areas in the middle that you need to understand.
It's hard for those moderate opinions, as they are, sensible opinions, but moderate, to sort of get out there when there is just so much polarisation, so much
it's just
vitriol, particularly on social media.
And a lot of propaganda as well being put out on both sides as well. You know, so everything you see now is like, is that real? I mean.
Yeah, it is. It does feel thoroughly depressing on so many levels.
Yes.
Let's move on. Front page of the Mail, Dawn.
Well, this is
interesting because it is linked, of course. We've seen these pro-Palestinian marches every weekend since the war started. And interestingly, the front page of the Mail, for whatever reason, is focusing on the fact that some school children have been skipping school to go to these marches. I mean, how much is that really a thing? But the Education Secretary has indeed commented on it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it is a curious choice, but it's bringing, obviously, the situation home. We've had the pro-Palestine marches I think this is the 8th week now. There's more marches going ahead today. We've also seen Israelis and Jewish people out are marching for peace too. But this is a report from the Policy Exchange, which is a think tank, and they have looked into this situation. Found children as young as 7 are skipping school to join the pro-Palestine marches. Now, obviously, these aren't the ones that are happening at the weekend, which are mostly the ones.
A couple of weeks ago, I think, on a Friday.
Yeah, absolutely. These are the ones happening during the week, and in particular in the East London area. I mean, sort of like, you know, in Tower Hamlets, there was one where children were encouraged to march to the local MP's office. And that, once the children had gone home, got quite scary for the office workers, the constituency workers. And, you know, when we've lost MPs to violence, like Jo Cox and David Amess, I think we have to be careful about, you know, being so aggressive towards our MPs in this situation as well. But this is about the kids that are being encouraged by their teachers and by organisations to become very politicised from the age of 7, basically.
OK, moving on, when it comes to politicians, of course, there are a few as well known and memorable as Boris Johnson. And the Times very much focusing on his appearance next week at the COVID inquiry, what he may or may not say, but suggestions that he's going to offer an unreserved apology.
Yeah, so he's up on Wednesday and Thursday next week. That'll be properly box office. I mean, there's been a lot of stories out of the inquiry so far. Obviously, a lot of criticism of the Downing Street operation that he ran, and I think he's getting his retaliation. And first, this will have been well briefed by those close to Boris Johnson, setting out exactly what he's going to be saying, or certainly what he hopes to be saying next week. Now, obviously, he will be questioned thoroughly on it and might not get an opportunity to give his opinions quite as forcefully as he'd wish. However, he's going to apologise, we're told, for mistakes that were made. I think that makes sense because he's going to come in for an awful lot of criticism and has already. But he's also going to defend a lot of the decisions that he took, not least how forcefully he went on getting a vaccine up and running. And, even his critics have got to, I think, acknowledge that the UK's vaccine programme was excellent, and he's going to say it saved tens, potentially hundreds of thousands of lives. He's going to defend Eat Out to Help Out, which was Rishi Sunak's big idea, which has come in for a lot of criticism from the scientists thus far in the inquiry, who said they didn't know anything
about it.
If they had, they'd have said no, because it was a super spreader event, effectively. So yeah, as I say, it's going to be box office. It's not going to change anyone's minds, though. He's one of those figures. He's a polarising figure. People that don't like him aren't going to have their minds changed.
What I want? What I really want to hear, Sally, from all of this? I don't want to hear who did what, when they did it, and all the finger pointing around. What I want to hear is what they're going to do the next time. And that's what I'm not getting.
It's supposed to be.
But that's what it's supposed to be, but it's not. I'm not getting that from that. I'm getting, I don't like Dominic Cummings, I don't like Matt Hancock, I don't like Boris Johnson. That's all I'm getting is mudslinging.
Yeah.
Tell me what you're going to do next time.
Because there will be a next time, unfortunately.
Yeah, and there certainly is a lot of dirty laundry being aired, isn't there?
Yes.
Dawn, Kevin, we have to leave it there. Thank you both so much.
We're ending on Boris Johnson's dirty laundry. Sally, thank you.
Great to see you. Thanks so much.